It was just this Christmas that went by. Things were getting busy. I'd start buying presents for the whole family. I had finished shopping, but I still needed to grab a present for my little cousin. She's not very hard to shop for since she is 4. She likes things like Peppa Pig and My Little Pony. She really liked, and I say liked for a reason, Max Ruby. A cartoon about a 7-year-old rabbit and Ruby and her 4-year-old brother, Max. So when I decided to go looking for a present, I figured something like a Max and Ruby DVD would have been perfect, since she liked to watch it on a daily basis. However, Christmas meant that most of the online DVDs were sold out in most places. I went to look on eBay as well, but figured I could not trust what the conditions the DVD would have been in. So I was stuck in run for a while, until that package arrived. I was at home still scrolling for a stupid DVD until I heard the sound of something being pushed into my letterbox. I caught a hold before my dog did and looked at the package. It seemed to be wrapped fairly badly, with what looked like grease marks and stains on it, naturally as anyone would. I decided to open the package. Inside was something that I could not explain. It was a Max Ruby DVD, but I had not seen one like it online. It was like some little kid had drawn the front cover with a marker. Title was just Max and Ruby, with what looked like a poorly drawn illustration of Max and Ruby on the front. There were no names or anything, but on the back it had a list of 4 episodes, all with blunt titles. Episode 0001, Episode 0002, Episode 0003, and Episode 0004. I get the DVD to watch over, and to my surprise, all the episodes were all perfect quality and seemed to have no flaws. It was as if it was a real DVD, just with a homemade cover. The only thing I thought was odd was the episode selection screen. The episodes had names, but they were all called Max Ruby 1, with the numbers being changed that went down the list. At the actual selection screen was just a plain white screen with black text with the episode list and nothing else. After giving it much thought, I decided to change the cover to something a little nicer, printing out a DVD cover that I found on Google and tracked down the names of the episodes so they label right. I left the episode list screen alone because the video was self-explanatory. Christmas went by and things were fine. I gave my little cousin her DVD and she was happy with it, all through Christmas. But that was only because she had not watched it yet. On Boxing Day, the family had gone out for a meal and left me to babysit my cousin. I was not too bothered about being left at home. I figured now was a good time to put on the DVD for her. I had put the DVD in and let it play. While I was in the kitchen eating my dinner, from what I could hear, she had watched episodes 1 to 3 so far. I was just about to finish off my noodles when I heard my cousin screaming from the other room, dropping everything. I run into the living room and saw my cousin curl up on the floor screaming. I looked up at the TV and I felt my heart in my throat. What I caught was a glimpse of what was one of the most horrifying things I'd ever seen. It was what appeared to be a frame of Max and Ruby standing next to each other in complete darkness, but what made it so horrible was the lack of faces. They had lost their noses and mouths, and their eyes were replaced with big black holes. The colors were disgusting blue red, and there was faint static in the background. The sound was replaced with what sounded like the Max and Ruby theme playing backward, with the faint sound of static in the mix of it all. It had to be the most disturbing thing I had ever seen, and it must have been on screen for at least 20 seconds before the screen went black and the DVD turned off, which alone was weird because DVDs do not usually turn off by themselves. I was able to calm my cousin down, telling her it was not real, and she had just had a nightmare as she had fallen asleep in front of the DVD. However, I knew in my mind it was completely real. My parents rang me up and told me they were going to be out all night, and this was going to be the best opportunity to look at this DVD more closely. I did not message them, and as soon as I hung up, I grabbed the DVD and stuck it into my laptop. As soon as I loaded, I noticed that episode 0004 had not been replaced with R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy, which sent a deep chill down my back. Since my cousin was now asleep, I plugged in my earbuds so he could sleep without having to hear anything. Normally, an episode of Max and Ruby would have 3 short stories, but this episode only had 1. It started off quite happy. Max and Ruby were playing tag in the garden. Their parents were on the porch watching them play. However, something was off. The sound was playing in reverse and the parents' faces were that of sadness. They panted mother and father, and in a voice of deep sorrow, the father spoke. It's such a shame, he sighed. And then cut to the sound of a static and a loud scream, followed by the sound of two people choking. The sound felt so real it made me almost physically sick. The scene then switched to Max Ruby standing in front of what looked like a gravestone labeled R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy. At this point, there were two of them that had no faces. At this point, there was also no sound, apart from faint static. The scene remained on screen for about a minute and a half before it cut away into black. Then changed scene again. Naturally, Max would be sitting in Ruby's room. Both of them were sobbing. The sobs were so realistic and heart-wrenching that it sounded like it was taken from a real person mourning. What happened next was probably the most disgusting yet saddest thing I've ever witnessed. The scene had changed to Max sitting in his room. He was standing on a chair with a noose hanging from the ceiling. He had brought it around his neck. The scene faded to black and the static got louder. Almost instantly, it then cut to Ruby walking on her brother. She let out a bloody, murdy scream in a black background. The cameras pan on her face as the sound of the chair being kicked and the same choking from before began to play. The picture stayed on Ruby's face. They stayed on a good screen for a good 5 minutes. This time her eyes were turned at the same gaping holes. Ruby then started crying. And as before, there were no other facial features. The static slowly grew louder and drowned the sound of her cries. The scene cut to black with the loud static while the screen returned. Ruby was standing now on her own in the garden by two gravestones. One was labeled R.I.P. Mommy and Daddy, and the other R.I.P. Brother. Then started talking in front of my face. At this point, I had already been sick and I was sitting all shaken. The episode seemed to have come to an end at last, as an old computer noise started playing. I was about to eject the DVD when the same image came up like it did on the TV. This time, however, there was text about the two rabbits that said, "Death is our only release." There were no credits or anything else. It stayed on this for a few seconds before the DVD finally popped out on my laptop. I started to try to contemplate what had happened. In my shock and fear, I made the stupid decision to break the DVD up as much as I could before leaving the house. I shoved the pieces down the drain. Thankfully, I kept a few screenshots and saved to my laptop. The next couple of days would have passed without anything unusual happening. I had a few nightmares about the DVD, but luckily that was all. My cousin had gone back home along with the rest of the family. It was a late night. My parents had gone out for dinner, leaving me to watch TV. I heard what sounded like someone posting something from my door. At this point, the DVD had left my mind, as I had not told anyone about it. Excuse me. However, it all came floating back when I looked down the letter in front of me and was just messily folded up, and it read, "Death is our only release."